Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. We are so happy to see you. There's still, by the way, some cupcakes and cookies in the bag. We didn't know if the rain would keep folks away, but we're happy that you came out to be with us this evening. This is our regular meeting, but it is a special meeting of the Ann Arbor Independent Community Police Oversight Commission. My name is Stephanie Carter, and I'm the chair this year of the commission. I want to thank our executive office assistant, Ms. Kennedy Blair Cummins, for getting our treats and setting us up. I want to thank our which commission, committee? Outreach. I want to thank our outreach committee for selecting our venue for this evening. They did a great job. And I want to thank all of you once again for coming out. In the back, if you want to, before we start and you missed it, a couple of things. We have the ICPOC, and people say ICPOC, and that's Independent Community Police Oversight Commission. We are the only commission out of nearly 30 city commissions with the word community in our name. We want to be a community commission. We want community to come out. Tell us what you want. That's what we're here for, so we appreciate it. A couple of things in the back, again, before we actually start. You have our last year's report. Our yearly report is out. Also, you may have heard of our driving equality ordinance. And we mentioned this to Chief Anderson, that we'd like to have a card or something to pass out, and he had these for us so quickly. So you might want to get one of these, and we want to thank our council liaison, Councilperson Harrison. She actually spearheaded the driving equality ordinance. But whether you know it or not, our ordinance, there are several things now, minor traffic offenses for which the Ann Arbor Police will not perform a traffic stop. So those 10 things are listed on this card. You can certainly take one of those with you. Okay, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. And the first thing I'm going to do is ask Ms. Cummins to call the roll. And as she calls it, you may not know your commissioners. So you will know their names, and perhaps we'll have a few minutes after our business is taken care of. So get to know them, talk to them, let them know who you are. Okay? Ms. Cummins.
Yes. Chair Carter.
Here.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Here.
Commissioner Milgram.
Here.
Commissioner Pipkins. Here. Commissioner Green.
Present.
Commissioner Haynes.
Here.
Commissioner Eliakin.
Here.
Commissioner Francis.
Here.
Councilmember Cynthia Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Billups. You have a form?
Thank you. And we have a new commissioner who was just approved a week ago. And so he is Commissioner Nathaniel Growlick. We're so happy to have him. And that rounds out almost. We also have a youth commissioner, and we hope she'll be approved in the next couple of weeks. And then we are, by our ordinance, we have 11 commissioners. So I would ask the commissioners to please, in one motion, approve both the agenda and the minutes so we can move right along. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now we are going to move into the heart of our get-together for today. We'd like to introduce to the community, some of you have not yet met our new police chief. We are so happy to have him as our chief and also as with us this evening. So I'd like to introduce Chief Andre Anderson and ask him to come forward, please. Yes, please. Yeah, you don't need it.
You're ready like Barry White singing something.
Yeah, there's a button.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chair Carter, members of the commission. I am really honored to have this opportunity to be here, and community members, I am also as honored to be here amongst you. As you may see, there are a number of police leaders here as well to support our efforts, and I'm going to talk about them in a second. My name is Andre Anderson, and I believe that law enforcement is at a crossroad with respect to how we need to engage the community, create collaborative relationships, and listen and work very closely with those that we are committed to serve. I have been in law enforcement for 36 years. I am originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I moved to Arizona where I became a police officer, where I had an opportunity to work through the ranks and serve in every executive leadership positions within law enforcement, which has been fortunate. I am married, I have 5 grandchildren, and I came to Arizona because I wanted to see law enforcement change. But when I got there, things went relatively well. I opted to come here because I observed and learned that Ann Arbor is a destination place for progressive leadership. I believe in what we're doing. I see the changes that we're making, and I am committed to work with you all in order to be a servant leader with this organization and throughout this community. So thank you for this opportunity, and I'm open to any questions you might ask about policing, law enforcement, or anything in general. So thank you, Chair Carter.
Thank you so much, Chief. Now, we do have some written questions. Before we get to the questions, maybe you'd like to introduce some of your command team that are here. We'll be seeing them around, and maybe have a chance at the end to speak with them as well.
I really appreciate that, and thank you. So I do have my command team here, and I want to start off to my left, which is Deputy Chief Patrick McGuire, who's here. Also, Deputy Chief Jason Forsberg is here. Also, Lieutenant John Dunlap is here. And Lieutenant Andrew Jeanette is here. And soon to be newly promoted as well, Sergeant Merkel is here. And in the back is Lieutenant Corey Mills.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And so we do have some questions. If anyone, now we actually have a time on our agenda for public comment. So if anyone has as a matter of fact, before we get to the written questions, does anyone have a comment, which is not necessarily a question, but at all of our meetings, we do have time for a 3-minute public comment. Anyone have anything they'd like to say? Okay, then if not, if you think of something, let us know, and we'll proceed right to the questions.
Chief Anderson, you'll have to forgive me. I've had these in order, and then I screwed up my order, so.
That's all right.
My name is Jonathan Lay. I am with the Supportive Connections Social Services and Deflection Program out of City Hall. So that way you guys know that I'm not just a random person talking up here. So your questions tonight, starting with, how is the department working with school districts to educate youth in public safety?
Well, I think it's important to talk about where we want to go with respect to working with our school districts and public safety. You know, there's a lot of concerns with respect to the prisoner pipeline with respect to law enforcement, and that concerns me as well. In an ideal scenario, it would be great to have law enforcement work in tandem with our school and our young people in order to create a collaborative relationship, but we may not be there yet. And that's going to require us to work more closely with the community to garner the trust and respect that we need. And that's what we're working towards. We understand that there's a need to be able to be within our schools to protect the school, students, kids, and everyone from the possibility that there could be harm, as we've seen in situations across the country. We are training to ensure that we have a response that is appropriate to make sure that our people in the schools are safe. That is something we're actively doing. We're working with our fire department as well to ensure that they work in tandem with us to provide a response. But this is a process that's going to require work. I think when I look at what we consider the pipeline to prison, what I've been talking about is really the pipeline to college. And we have a lot of police officers that have a lot to offer the schools. We have police officers that teach. We have police officers that play instruments. We have police officers that coach. And more importantly, we have police officers that care. So we got to work our way back into a situation where the community, the schools see the efforts of our law enforcement officers. And remember, we have kids in school too. So we are part of the community and part of the school. We care, but this is a plan that we're working on in order to carve out a response that could be a model response for our nation.
Thank you for that. Next question. What is your, I can't even read my own handwriting when I corrected it. What is your vision for the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department, Ypsilanti and Ann Arbor Police Departments to collaborate when addressing community safety issues?
We've already started doing that. First of all, I work very closely with the sheriff as well as the Ypsilanti chief, and I actually consider them outstanding colleagues and, quite frankly, friends as well. And so we have been meeting. We have been talking about challenges that cross borders. The reality is, when we look at crime, we know that crime doesn't have borders. Unfortunately, sometimes when things happen, they cross borders and people just really take advantage of the opportunity at hand. And so what we're doing is we're talking about things that are occurring so that we have a kind of a collaborative response. But we're not just talking about things like crime and things of that nature. We're also talking about how we can have a balanced approach by getting our resource partners involved in finding ways to help people that need help. Because we know at the core of crime, at the core of issues, are individuals that need jobs, individuals that need places to go, to recreate, to have fellowship. And we're already talking about ways that we can work together. In fact, this weekend we met to talk about some of those things, and that's happening on a regular basis. So you will find that there is a collaborative response of leaders working together, and you will see here in the future that not only will you see us together, talking, walking, but you'll find that we're planning to work together as a collaborative team.
Thank you, Chief. This one I'm going to read backwards. We're starting with the comment. People are experiencing homelessness, should feel safe in Ann Arbor. Our current policing paradigms are not supporting that. How will you improve relationships with and outcomes for the unhoused communities?
I think that we have a fantastic police department with respect to how they view unhoused individuals. I know that because I talk to the leaders on a regular basis, and I gauge their empathy. I gauge their passion, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm talking to them to find out if there's judgments, there's comments, there are things that are inappropriate that can actually keep us from bridging that relationship. And what I'm finding is that the police officers really do care, but they also know that we cannot solve the problem of unhoused through policing. We can't arrest our way out of the situation. Our employees understand that it's going to take a partnership with other people that can assist with addressing some of the concerns. We have a broad goal. The goal is to end homelessness. It is a very, very broad goal. But we believe in policing that if we work with people who have the expertise, willingness, and ability to help us, we can find ways to do that. But the police department's role is not to enforce our way out of it. Our role is to be collaborative partners and many times to recognize that we need to get other people, not the police, in front of the efforts and for us to take a step back and then be there to assist. And that's what our agency is doing. And those are the things they were doing before I got here. And those were the things that I expected them to do. So I really want to give really a lot of respect to the law enforcement leaders here in this room that were already moving in that direction. And I'm proud to be part of the plan. But that's what we're doing.
Thank you again. What training and development is in place to eliminate racial profiling?
You know, we talked about that today. I mean, there's so many things, and I'll just add a few, but we are doing so many things. In fact, we talked about today is how we're using some of the concerns that we see with racism as part of a promotional process. So you want to socialize the police department leadership to understand that we're providing training on something that is uncommon, human rights. You find very few law enforcement agencies that have training on human rights. We're providing training on civil rights. We're providing training on the task force of 21st century policing, where we learn to build trust and legitimacy and officer wellness and things of that nature. We're also taking a look at the labeling and a critical look at the historical impact of genocide. We're providing training with respect to looking at implicit and explicit biases. We're providing training in terms of fair and impartial policing, which we have our leaders in here that are leading those particular venues. And I'm also bringing training here for our leadership to take a look at some of the critical issues that are happening across the country, whether it be Mike Brown or a number of situations that we all know about. And I'm bringing leaders here to talk about them, some of them that were there on the ground and that are going to give us a historical perspective so that our police officers understand what has happened in the past. Because we can't forget what happened in the past, because that past has a great deal to do with how we lead in the future. So I want our police officers to understand. The last thing I'll say about that is training. We have what we call informal training. And I can tell you, we have lots of conversations about race. We really do. We sit down daily and talk about race, whether it's just being confrontational about it or whether me just speaking to my employees about it and talking about it. And we have a lot of grace because sometimes employees haven't grown up in areas where they understand the historical perspective of people of color or other issues that are impacting the community, and that's okay as long as you're willing to learn. So I sit down, and many of us, and we talk about it, and I want to hear the concerns they have, and I think that's where the true training is coming place, by being able to listen to individuals talk about the concerns of our community. Our next steps are to also include members of the community, to invite them to come in and talk to the police department and for us to listen to some of the things that can help us be better partners to address some of the issues in the community.
Before you read the next question, Chief, I don't know if everybody knows that you were brought into Ferguson. You mentioned Michael Brown, and that you were there after that incident happened with him. I don't know if you want to say anything at all about it, but I know a lot of us probably did not know your role in that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, I was asked to serve as a police chief in Ferguson, Missouri, right after the incidents transpired with Mike Brown Jr. We all know that that was a devastating situation with respect to a police officer involved shooting with the 18-year-old. And there was a number of significant issues in the community with respect to community policing, riots, just a number of situations that called for leadership. And I was one of the people, or actually the chief, that was selected in order to serve in that particular venue. And that required working with the community, working with the police department to actually identify what was at the root of those concerns. Now, in this setting, we may not have enough time to really talk about what happened. And I provide training with respect to how we were able to galvanize enough support to change what transpired. But here's one thing that I will tell you. I've had an opportunity to train across the country and talk to even police officers that didn't understand what happened. And I can tell you that after the police officers see the training I provide, they understand what happened to the people in that community. One of the questions I even asked police leaders and even police chiefs, would you have protested? And many of them, after they know the facts, they say, yes, I would. Because people, quite frankly, don't understand what was taking place to the members in that community, and it is something that we should never repeat in law enforcement. But thank you, Chair, for bringing that up. I was brought there to help address those issues and also prepare the rest of the country to understand what happened, and I've been doing that for quite some time now.
And thank you for your leadership in that and bringing it to Ann Arbor. This is a short one. Do police have any influence in cash bail determinations?
I'm sorry, can you read that?
Do police have any influence in cash bail determinations?
You know what, that might be a Michigan term, so I may not understand that. But you know, in some of the movies, they ask you to, like, you can call a friend. So I'm gonna call a friend.
Oh, easiest way to explain cash.
Do you have any impact in deciding what your amount?
Whether or not the court assigns bail at the time of arraignment.
I don't know the answer to that because I haven't been here long enough, but I might want to ask Deputy Chief McGuire to answer that question for me if he's able to.
If not, I know the answer too.
I was really hoping not to be the one put on the spot for that one, but no, the short answer is no. The cash bail determinations are set by the judge doing an arraignment. Occasionally, police, when they submit charges, may give a recommendation, but no, that's typically made by the prosecutors, and the actual determination is made by the court when they arraign a person for a crime.
I just had this conversation with the judge today.
That's why you have deputy chiefs.
It's true. And I'm going to warn you now, these 3 questions, I loaded the back end just for you as hard as I could. So please address biases and discrimination against women, especially as victims of crime.
That is a really good question. We've been talking about that in our organization quite a bit. The first thing that we've been talking about in terms of women is trying to find a way that we can create a diversified pool to get more women in leadership. I've introduced my leadership staff here. There are no women here, and that's a problem because we have a number of fantastic women in our leadership compadre throughout our department. The average number of women in a police department across the country, percentage-wise, is 14%. In our agency, we're at, John, 23%. He would know that because he was tasked to put that together and did a great job putting it together. So putting him on the spot. But you see, he's ready. He's ready. He's ready. So our issue is we talk about a victim-oriented response, and quite frankly, most times women are the victims of a number of crimes. So our approach is to identify the issues at the core of addressing those concerns, and then identifying mostly resources, the right people to reach out, and then actually actively addressing the individuals at the core of committing crimes. That's kind of a general approach, but that's just what we're doing, and our police department is doing a really good job. We have women detectives, men detectives, that are working to specifically address crimes in relationship to women, and we're working collaboratively in order to continue to place an emphasis on the individuals at the core of committing those crimes. So it's 2 things: identifying people that are committing a crime, providing wraparound resources to women to help them not become victims of crimes. Those are the things that we're doing in our police department.
All right, they're only going to get harder from here. What are you most looking forward to bringing to policing in Ann Arbor?
You know, that's not really a hard one, I think. You know, there's many times when we look at what I look forward to bringing, there's like this textbook answer, right? But I don't have a textbook answer. Really, I don't. What I'm looking for is authentic policing. It's really that simple. I want people to care. I don't care about the book, the policies, the laws, or anything. I don't care. None of that stuff matters to me. When you have a true servant spirit, right, that's what I want. I want your heart. I want you to care. When you have a good heart, you don't need any of those things. So what I'm bringing is I'm bringing that passion to the department. I'm cultivating leaders that will care about the community, that want to come out and address people in the community the appropriate way, that have the respect that people deserve, that have the proper temperament, that have the proper respectful encounters. I want just really good people. That's what I hope to bring. And I try to lead by that example by talking to my staff. I talk to my staff about being vulnerable, about the mistakes that I've made, because I've made many of them. I make it okay for you to listen. Tell me what mistakes you've made. Tell me what you've done. Let's work together and build a better team. But while you're doing that, you have to understand that there are members in the community that have also made mistakes. And there are also things that we have to have the grace to in order to be a successful organization. So to me, it's really simple. Being authentic, caring, being respectful, listening to the community, and cultivating change inside the organization in order to cultivate the change outside the organization, and listening and allowing us to be changed through community policing.
I was just handed another question. Please speak to the proper and improper use of wellness checks. They seem to be used as ways of saying, we don't believe you.
Wow. You know, first of all, anytime you start with dealing with anyone and telling them, especially in a community you don't believe them, we're going down the wrong road. It sets us apart from the community. It creates a judgment. And when I talk to our police officers and our police leadership, we know a few things about the community at large. One thing is people hate fake, right? And they hate judgment. And so if we're not believing people and we're creating judgment and we're not being authentic, that's a huge problem. You know, the reality is that we have to start with believing. We have a number of plans in place that actually have those words, start with believing, especially when it comes to women that have been victims of crimes, is start with believing. So many times we see things that don't appear one way on the surface, but as we start believing and we're objective and we're not passing judgment and we move down the right path, we find out, in fact, that people are telling us the truth about what occurred. So that's the big thing, is just getting to the core of issues, understanding where people are coming from, and making sure that we believe that what they're telling us could be true until otherwise proven not. But the most important thing about that is your delivery, your temperament. You're talking to people and they're telling you their story, understanding the trauma that they have, listening, being relatable, and then trying to find a way to help solve or ease tension with respect to how a person feels about something that they believe transpired.
Good answer. All right, now for your most loaded question of the evening, that's going to split a room right down the middle. What is your favorite thing about Ann Arbor now that you've been here for a couple of months? Choose wisely.
It's not the weather.
It gets better.
Oh, wow, it's not just one favorite thing. It's just a lot of things. I had an observation when I first came here. It was a subtle observation, and maybe you've seen this, but to me it was odd. My wife and I were walking around, and I went to several locations, stores, the Best Buy, because I always go to Best Buy, and other places throughout the community. And I found something in common that I really liked. One was I would ask an individual, like, where something was located. Where I was, in the grocery store or in the Walmart, and I would ask, where is this item located? Or I was downtown Ann Arbor, and I would ask, where is this store located? And what I found each time, my wife and I noticed, is people just didn't tell you where it was. They stopped what they were doing and walked you to that location and pointed it out. And I was like, man, this is such a culture change. I've never seen this. Because, you know, you get people that they want to help you. They want to help you. And I found that to be an exceptional quality of the culture here, is that a stranger that doesn't know you is willing to do more than just point to where something is at, but to actually walk you to that particular area and talk to you and show you where you need help. And that's important to me. The reason why is because I translate that in some of the conversations I have with my leadership. Because oftentimes if you go into a store or you hear someone being rude to you, you know what that is. And oftentimes people will complain about the police department. And in the past, we may hear our police department or leaders say, well, what is rude? We don't really know what rude is. And I talk to my folks and I'm like, look, I'm a 59-year-old black man. I know what rude is. You ain't got to try to figure it out, try to get all these words and all this stuff, man. I know when somebody is being rude. So that is the opposite of being rude, is being more accommodating. And that's what I want from our police department. And that's a culture that I've seen here, and I really enjoy that culture. And the last piece of that culture is how well the people have received, at least me. My wife has been here a little bit, and she really liked it, how well the community is receiving me, and how they're allowing me to try to implement change. Those are great things about Ann Arbor. We have a fantastic culture here. We love it here. We plan to be here for a long time. And I just hope that you allow me to be part of this culture, because I love this culture and I want to be part of the culture and making it better.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
I have a question.
all right.
Did you go into any stores, or any people that you met, that went in the stores with you and shopped for another 55 or 60 minutes? Because if so, that was my wife.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Phil.
Is that the way?
Yes.
That's my wife, that's her friend.
I just know him.
Your wife ain't paying you no mind.
Hey, I'm serious, man.
Chief Anderson, we just call that a Midwest goodbye.
Are there any other questions? Any of the commissioners have any questions or anything that they want to ask at this point? Commissioner Milgram.
So if you don't mind, Chief, I mean, just a little bit more about, along the same lines. I'm curious, well, I guess I was going to ask you, what's the biggest surprise about that you've found in this city, knowing what you thought you knew and what maybe has surprised you pleasantly? And I think you probably answered that along those lines. But so my other question also is, what do you think of as your greatest challenge, or your first couple of greatest challenges here in your approach to the department and to the city?
There's two questions, is a surprise and one of the greatest challenges. The quick one on the surprise is, we're on the third floor of our building and we got windows, right? You're looking out, and when it's like in less than 2 hours, it's raining, snowing, and then the sun is out, it's kind of a surprise. Like, what is going on out here? So that's kind of a surprise.
Nobody told you about that.
No. And I just came from Arizona, right? So it's not doing that. So that's been a surprise. The challenge that I see is with the police department is, whenever you with any change, right? What happens with leaders is, what they say is, hey, we've done that already, right? Or, man, sometimes it's natural to have some resistance to change because you have someone providing change. So you got to start breaking that down, because it's like, hey, listen, we need to be open to change. I wouldn't be here if the community didn't want change. That's the first thing. So the challenge has been, which has worked out well in the beginning, is talking to my leaders to get them to understand that change is coming. get used to it, embrace it, and move forward. But the other challenge has been is knowing so many things that the police department is already doing that the community does not know about. And so I'm like, they're already doing these things. So the challenge is branding the things that they're doing and then getting it out. But the other challenge is finding things that the community wants, like ICPOC. It's a challenge because there are so many things that you want us to do that I agree with. There's so many. I see the need. And so I have to challenge and funnel the police leadership, the community, and others to actually find solace with where you want to go, because a lot of it, I think about, we should be doing that. That makes sense to me. But the biggest challenge with that is, do I have the ability, meaning do I have the resources to bring what you need to fruition? And that is a challenge, and quite frankly, it's frustrating.
Well, thank you very much. We have another question, sure.
I guess, and it's maybe more of a comment, which is any plans that you have for partnership with, and you mentioned some of this earlier in terms of safety for women, but partnerships with Safe House Center and Alternatives to Domestic Aggression, the local batteries intervention program. Have you already had some conversations with them or plan to?
I'm going to talk to you, hopefully.
Well, here's the thing, that was my past life work.
You can still help me.
Very passionate.
You can still help me. I'm going to still talk to you. So I haven't at this point. I know that I have some meetings that are upcoming, so I hope to start engaging in that endeavor. I do have some detectives that are already moving forward with respect to safe houses, things of that nature, but I don't know as much about it because the meetings are forthcoming. But I would like to talk to you, and I'm open to having anyone come and assist me with that endeavor. I've been here for a little bit over 90 days, so I do need some help in that area, and I know I have great leaders, so I'm going to come and talk to you so you can help me, and anyone else that can help me as well.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have another question. Good.
I just want to say, several years ago, and I'm talking several since I'm one of the oldies here, that we had preparedness for different things that we were anticipating. And this is going to really crack everybody up because we were getting prepared for Y2K, okay? We're getting ready for that, all right? Oh, and the police department helped lead the way. They got every organization in the city to help get prepared. Well, turned out we didn't have anything to worry about. It worked out.
Yes.
But guess what happened? We got prepared for every little thing that could happen
Yeah.
to go wrong
Yeah,
in the city of Ann Arbor.
yeah,
All the different kinds of break-ins and everything that could go on. And the police department helped lead that.
right?
So that didn't happen. But you know what happened?
What?
9/11.
Yep.
9/11 happened, and that was only 18, 20 months later. And guess what? We were prepared. We were prepared
Wow.
for something so the thing is, you don't know what you don't know. And please be as prepared as possible.
Yes.
This young woman here telling us, be prepared, and your meetings are, all the preparedness you can possibly do is really important. And I'm a retired pastor, so I was a downtown pastor, and we were part of that. Be prepared. And you don't know what you're getting prepared for.
Can we bring you in our staff meetings and talk about that? Thank you so much.
There was another comment. Yeah.
I have a question and
Question?
a couple of comments. Welcome, Chief Anderson. It's my hometown, I'm proud of it. And welcome, I hope you enjoy your time in Ann Arbor.
Thank you.
And you have a wonderful police force. I go on ride-alongs. I encourage you guys to go on ride-alongs. It's amazing how much you learn. And when you talk about care, these guys care. They really do. They treat everyone with respect.
Thank you.
And my first question, though, I want to know is your deputy chief, the lawyer, shared the cookies I brought? during police week?
Yes.
Or did he abscond them in his office?
Probably. I'm going to go with a scoundrel.
Seriously, when the commission or the council decided, I understand the spirit of driving equality.
Yes.
I totally understand that. I do not feel there's a systemic racial problem in Ann Arbor. There are pockets of it, I'm sure. It's a balance in my mind of sometimes criminal behavior is discovered on simple traffic stops. So how do you balance that?
Yeah. Well, you know, there are and there have been driving equity issues. And I can tell you that that's happened because I've seen it happen to me as I've grown up and many members in my family. And so there are issues that we have to be a realist about. There's historical things that have transpired with respect to people of color. It's real. This is real. Yeah, it's right. And I appreciate you saying that. But there is a balance, right? So we don't need to use minor infractions in order to address individuals that are committing crimes. Oftentimes when that occurs, it just puts people in a position where they're in a vicious cycle that doesn't allow for them to move forward and have the appropriate progress that we would like for people to have in their life. And plus, it just has a negative connotation on law enforcement that we don't really need. Now, the way that we deal with crime, right, is that we have to identify the individual that's at the core of the crime instead of addressing the whole community and neighborhood and having an impact on people that do not have anything to do with the crimes. And then when we identify the person involved in the crimes, then we can apply the resources necessary to address that individual. But quite frankly, many times we don't need a lot of minor infractions to actually address a person that's committing a crime. We either have what we call probable cause or not. And that's based on that individual's actions. And we use those actions and we address those issues. And in our police department, we're going to do that. And it doesn't matter to us, gender, race, really, we look at behavior. And if a person is committing crimes, that means that person is harmful to other victims. And we want to address the individual to stop them from committing crimes. So the driving equality ordinance really has no bearing on that. And in fact, when you really start reading the information with respect to what it does, it talks about giving the police officers the ability to stop individuals from driving and causing harm in the community. It talks about allowing us to put in place what we call our Vision Zero plan, which is in place designed to actually reduce fatalities and serious injuries. All of those things are in our driving equality ordinance. And then there is a part that talks about the disparate impact that it has on people of color. And every single one of those pieces are true. And so I 100% support it, but I don't think it has anything to do with respect to how we can address crime. And I think our numbers are going to show that even though we have our driving equality ordinance in, which I looked at over the last 3 months, we've had less than an 8% decrease in the number of traffic stops that we've had and the number of traffic citations, but we're still able to address crime. And that's something that's happening all across the country.
Thank you very much, Chief Anderson. Thank you so much for,
Can I make one request before you leave?
absolutely.
Okay, my request is that I can have Lieutenant John Dunlap come up and close.
Thank you all for coming out today. It's really been a pleasure, communicating and talking with you, hearing your concerns. Chief, phenomenal job addressing those questions and really explaining whether it's an operational question or whether it's a future plan that we have as a department. But I would like to thank every one of you. Please don't hesitate, to reach out to us as we will reach out to you in any future communications on how we can grow as a community. So I really thank each one of you coming out and meeting with us and talking, and we look forward to talking to you even after the closing on this meeting, so.
Thank you so much. And we have about 10 minutes worth of business, and then that will give us the last 20 minutes. They're going to put us out at 7:30. So that'll give us about 20 minutes to, again, meet and greet and eat some of those delicious cupcakes from the back. So now, by the way, you know, ICPOC had a group that was part of the interview process for Chief Anderson. And I just want you to know, one of the things that at least convinced me, he was, of course, our first choice. There was a question about what you would do if one of your officers made a mistake. And he said, I would show them grace because I expect them to show grace to the members of the community. And that sold me, so I just wanted to add that. Very quickly, we had an inquiry. This is a part of the chair report, which may not be on your information today, but ICPOC takes complaints and we take concerns from the community. We want, as I say, we are the community. When they say, what does the community think, we want to be able to tell them. We had a couple of inquiries over the last month based on some of the problems that were going on University of Michigan campus. And we had a couple of folks ask us, well, is that, I see the Ann Arbor police over there, and what's going on? And so we did ask the question, and we were informed, just for your information, that that was not the Ann Arbor police there, that was U of M police, and that there is a cooperative agreement between the city and the university, and only if there's a dangerous situation are we called in. And someone asked, well, taxpayer money, and they are reimbursed anytime we give services to the U of M. So I just wanted to make that clear in case anyone else had that kind of question. Secondly, we are, Brother Hampton, what's the date of Juneteenth? June 15th. The 15th. Oh, it's going to be on the 15th. I'm talking about our celebration. That is my question. No, you were absolutely right. ICPOC, again, in coordination with the Human Rights Commission and the Commission on Disabilities, will have a table at Juneteenth. It's a wonderful occasion that our NAACP puts on each year, and the president of our NAACP is here, Brother William Hampton. Thank you for coming out.
By the way, Chief Anderson has already committed to being at Juneteenth.
Wonderful. All right. Wonderful. I mean, we have a good time at Juneteenth. Now, I have to say this to the commissioners. I will not be able, last year we were at the table for the whole time. I will not be able to be at the table this year. So I'm going to ask Ms. Cummins over the next week to send out or talk to you about some kind of sign up. We need, folks to be at that table for the entire time. Thank you very much for that. I think, our June meeting, again, Commissioner Offman will chair that June meeting, so I know that everyone will be present. I hope everybody got your email regarding the selection of chair and vice chair at the next meeting, if you'd like. I have said I will serve one more year as chair, if you'd like. If anyone else wants to take that position, I will. You will? Oh. Oh, no. Well, that's for June. I know it. But we do need a vice chair. So if you're interested, please let Ms. Cummins know, and we'll take care of that at the June meeting. We don't meet in July or August, but we are still looking at complaints And we want to expand that to complaints and compliments. If you have a good, I don't want to say good time with a police officer, that's not. If you have a good experience with a police officer, let us know that as well. Commissioner Hoffman is the chair of our information managers, and we want feedback. We want to know what's going on out there in the community. Finally, for the commissioners, registration is open for the NACOL Annual Conference. That is a national conference of police oversight professionals that we, thanks to the city, can attend. And so please let Ms. Cummings know if you wish to attend this year. I don't have anything else. I'm going to ask, we have a couple of minutes if there are any reports. We have several committees that work. Anybody have any report or anything that we need to report on tonight? Any communications, Ms. Cummings? All right. All right. Thank you. In that case, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Who said that? So moved. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?